crossing.
Yes.
Really?
Get the feathers up and everything, where the feathers down is across the road.
I've only ever seen a peacock at the zoo.
This case is talking to us. I'm a peacock, Captain. You gotta let me fly on this one. You know what, Terry? Let's just settle this. Peacocks don't fly.
They fly a little. They get a real running
About as
start.
much as a penguin.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamara. Here's Jen Latta.
Running her mouth, she wants to ride it, she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her man look like he wanna fight. He ain't doing nothing but running his mouth. Talk about it, we all about it. They making plans, we sit and count. Our chairs stacked just like a mountain. You heard about it, she running
How
her mouth.
inebriated is U.S. News and World Report? How drunk are they? How high are they? I don't even care. I'm not going to substance shame you.
Seems like you are.
No, I mean, you can be. You're either high or you're drunk. It's one of the two.
So this is the route we're going to take. Okay.
Yesterday, U.S. News and World Report. I gotta say this. I gotta say this with a straight face. I gotta say this out loud with a straight face. Okay. Whew. Okay. Yesterday, U.S. News and World Report named Green Bay the best place to live in America.
I'm going to soften the blow a little bit. They also put Portland, Maine very high.
Here is the first paragraph of What's It Like to Live in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Home to one of the most storied football franchises in the NFL, the Green Bay Packers. Okay, sure.
Fair, true, accurate.
Green Bay has the perfect mix of big city amenities complemented with a Midwestern small-town feel.
Green Bay has so many big city amenities that they are going to give it the NFL draft, right, Ashton?
The city boasts a thriving entertainment and art scene, revitalized downtown,
Wow, lots changed.
and 2 college campuses, creating an energy that may appeal to young families as well as retirees.
What's the other? Oh, St. Norberg's?
Yeah.
Norberg.
Okay.
Exactly.
Bless us, St. Norberg.
A lot has changed, I guess, in the 20 years since I've lived
Do
there.
we need to make a field trip to Green Bay?
No, we do not. We definitely do not.
How in the world? Now, again, if the criteria was must have NFL stadium / sledding hill, then yes, I totally understand why Green Bay, Wisconsin landed #1. This is not the list of the best cities in Brown County. This is not the, right? I mean, because then I could make a hell of an argument for Green Bay, Wisconsin. And I actually feel a little conflicted here, taking out a city in our state as I try to defend Wisconsin to the masses, right? Like, let's be honest, guys. When I tell people I'm from Wisconsin or people find out I live in Wisconsin, they give me some looks. They do. These are my friends out on the East Coast. These are my friends in California. They give me some looks, and I have.
Yes.
I say, well, because you're saying that we don't want them moving here, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I get it. Trust me.
I mean, yesterday before we had the 19-degree drop in 13 minutes. Before that,
Horrible.
Before that,
And you know where I was when that happened? I was standing
beach?
at my daughter's soccer practice, okay?
Man.
The moms who were wearing shorts, see, I knew it was coming because we get the emails from our friends over at TMJ4. So I knew that what do we call it? What do you call
Pneumonia front.
Thank you. That's what it was called. The pneumonia front was coming, but
See, I
some of
could
the
do that
moms
job.
did not because they were wearing tank tops and shorts and flip-flops at soccer practice, and oh boy, were they in trouble.
They were not ready for the Clayton Kershaw
yes.
curveball coming with the bottom falling out of the temperature.
That
yesterday.
aside, Gabe.
Yeah, that aside. I mean, yesterday, 81 degree Milwaukee. When it's like Milwaukee hits 70 degrees, the city comes alive and becomes a tremendous place to live.
But that's this city,
Yes,
Milwaukee.
yes.
Madison was also on the list.
Madison's always high on,
But
just about
I
every
could
list.
live, and Green Bay's fine. People love Green Bay. That's fine. I don't know what the criteria is, but I could not live there ever in my entire lifetime.
Even though you
again.
did. Oh, again, there it is.
Yes.
A thriving craft beer industry, an array of restaurant options, and its proximity to weekend getaway destination Door County make Green Bay a good
But
place
there's
to settle
nothing
down
that
and stay.
Green Bay, Wisconsin has that is clicking on that list that Milwaukee doesn't have.
Green Bay's great to live because it's close to Door County. Like that's what
That's like Connecticut.
That's what
Connecticut
it
is
is.
great to live in because it's close to New York. And Boston. And Boston. You
But
can
I
go
could live.
either way.
Could you guys live in Madison before Green Bay?
I have lived in Madison.
Yeah. I could live in Madison.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
sure. But I'd rather live here. If I had my
I
choices.
would rather live where I'm at.
I feel
look for some people. Wisconsin, 5 months there's no better place to live. The other 7, you can stick it up your ass, stick it up your ass.
Yeah. And Chewy is actually headed back to
was about to say.
Florida today
2 hours.
because that
Florida boy here.
pneumonia front rolled in and he was like, if you're here, I'm not. I can't believe that Green Bay got number 1 in the country of all the places. There must be some strange criteria. The criteria must have been like
Art scene?
must have single family homes, ranch style around an NFL stadium. Like, again, I'm trying to figure out what in the world must have been the criteria. Ashton, do you have the criteria for how and why Green Bay? You have some criteria?
I have some words here for sure in sentence form. Here's what it says, realestate.usnews.com. U.S. News analyzed the 150 most populous metro areas to find the best places to live. To make the top of the list, a place had to have good value, be a desirable place to live, have a strong job market, and a high quality of life. Those were the criterion.
How do you measure those things?
Great
I have
question.
no idea.
Right? I mean, we had a lengthy conversation / debate last week about how one measures leadership in a person. And we couldn't settle on one element of criteria.
Well,
There
let's
is
go
more.
through our criteria. Mike, as I get older, blood gets thinner. Number 1 is weather. The weather's got to be great. Like I said, 5 months here, it's wonderful.
Feels like a strike against the entire state of Wisconsin. Then.
2, food. Food.
What is
I
Green
love
Bay best
food.
known for?
Cheese. Yeah.
But is Green Bay even known
And
for cheese?
3 is entertainment, like
Shows?
Summerfest, like concerts,
Events?
like things to do, like nightlife.
Maybe that's what the Packers count as the things to do / events.
Green Bay is weird, though. It's kind of pivoted because their downtown is meh in Green Bay. You've been to downtown Green Bay, right?
Correct.
It's
Begrudgingly.
and everything like downtown when I played there. Like, is it Oneida? Oneida, where the mall's at?
Yeah.
That was considered downtown. That was where the most things were happening.
Yeah, that stretch. It's all,
That's
everything.
where you go to Tony Romo's and you go to Applebee's and Shoney's.
Tony Romo has a restaurant.
Tony Roma's.
Oh, there it is. I was
Yeah.
like,
I mean, good for Tony. Did he replace Brett Favre's Steakhouse?
I mean, I know he's from Burlington, Wisconsin, but it feels like a long way from Green Bay. Lots of folks already weighing in on our ESPN Milwaukee talk and text line. Let's see. Jason from Delavan, the locksmith, saying Milwaukee has a lot more crime than Green Bay. That probably worked against it. Ray and Oosberg saying, what about all the cars that have been stolen in Milwaukee? That would put it below Green Bay in my book. Texan and Racine saying Green Bay, kind of like Milwaukee, but less crime. Rudy from Sheboygan saying the reviewers got as far as Oneida across from the airport, won $1,500 and went home in a great mood.
Did someone just say Green Bay kind of like Milwaukee? In what way?
Yeah, I can't.
In what way?
They
couldn't
both
tell.
are places to live.
They both are
That's it.
inside the...
Oh, you know what? It's the double E at the end of Milwaukee that's also in Green Bay. Yeah, it's double E's. Yep, the double E's. That did it. Frankie in Brookfield, rather, saying maybe a thing Milwaukee has that Green Bay doesn't is high crime rate. So the crime seems to be something that people are holding against Milwaukee. And to be fair, I don't know what the crime numbers are in Milwaukee versus Green Bay. I guess I can assume based on some of these comments that Green Bay does not have a high crime rate. Is that...
Kia boys haven't made it that far north?
No, they keep getting caught in Milwaukee. They get the car and then they keep getting caught.
Well, what are the other What are the other cities, Ashton, that made the top 5? Maybe I can make an argument or a case by knowing what some of the other cities that this list put together as the best places to live in America.
Let's start with number 5, Sarasota, Florida. Number 4, Boulder, Colorado. Number 3, Raleigh and Durham, North Carolina. Number 2, Huntsville, Alabama. And number 1 is Green Bay.
Well, I would take 3 of them over Green Bay immediately.
Which ones?
Sarasota,
Yeah.
which I am an
weather.
hour from. That's absolutely beautiful. Raleigh, North. I could live in North Carolina. The climate is great. Gabe, you love it. Golf year round.
yeah.
And then what was the other one?
You also
Boulder?
had Boulder in
Boulder.
Huntsville, Alabama.
Boulder is awesome.
So what I'm seeing here, guys, is these are not the biggest cities in their respective states, and so that may have been something that worked against the cities, right? Because I can make the argument that in all of those states, I could come up with several other cities that I have been to that I have enjoyed. But I can see how maybe living, right, like Miami. Who doesn't love a trip down to Miami, right? But do you want to live in Miami, or would you rather live in Sarasota, in Colorado, Denver? So fun. We've also been to Aspen. We've been to Breckenridge. Loved them as well. But do you want to live in any of those places? They're expensive places to live. So maybe that's why Boulder gets the nod in Colorado.
Got to imagine that's why. So, Chewy, you mentioned your number one criteria is weather.
Yes.
What is famously the best weather city in this country?
San Diego.
Number 92.
Yes. 92?
Yes.
Very
Wow.
expensive, though.
Yes.
Very expensive. So
I
that
think people in Wisconsin will take this as a slight when it's not a slight. Like, I'm from Massachusetts. There isn't enough money in the world for me to move back to Massachusetts, right? I would live in Green Bay before I lived anywhere.
Wait, can you tell us where a Massachusetts city is on that list?
Boston
It's
was-
going to scrolling for us.
I mean, Boston's fine. It's a great place to visit, but I'd never want to live there.
And Boston,
Springfield,
FYI.
Massachusetts
Springfield
is 108.
Basketball Hall of Fame, Springfield,
Springfield's
right?
a toilet. That's what I would refer to it as.
Is it
Number
better?
108.
Is it
Yes.
better or worse than Green Bay?
I would live in Green Bay before I lived in Springfield.
Okay, well, there's an endorsement for Green Bay.
Yeah.
Chicago's 123.
Well, but also, I mean, Chicago has a terrible reputation
Yeah.
for crime.
That is, so this is, I'm not looking into kind of more of how U.S. News decided to do this. So some of it is, it's based, quality of life index is based on crime rates, well-being, commuter index, quality and other available health care, air quality, like that. It's all just kind of asking these questions, and the only one you can actually look at really is the crime rate numbers.
Like, Jen, have you been to Huntsville? I've never been to Huntsville, but I can tell you I wouldn't want to live in
No, I've
Huntsville,
been, but
Alabama.
I've obviously been to Tuscaloosa, which is, obviously a college town. Birmingham, I've heard amazing things. I have friends who have chosen to live in Birmingham, but not Huntsville. It's like when you go to Georgia. Obviously, most people go to Georgia and go to Atlanta, but people don't want to live in Atlanta. I mean, people are moving
so
out of
big.
it,
It's
and the
huge.
traffic is
Yeah.
terrible. And they also have crime issues. But I have friends that live in Alpharetta, which is about 40 minutes outside of Atlanta, and that's a lovely neighborhood. One criticism of Green Bay that I think is valid, guys, is lack of diversity.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you are a black family, if you are a Hispanic family, do you pick Green Bay and say, yes, I feel like my people are represented here? I don't know that that's the case.
I mean, in fairness, if we're going to critique then, I mean, yes, we have diversity here, but it's also
Segregated.
incredibly segregated.
Yeah.
One of the most, if not the most segregated cities in America.
But one of the more running jokes about Green Bay has been, and look, this has been something that people have said for years and years and years, and it has probably changed more recently, but if you saw a black man at the grocery store, most people thought they were a member of what?
The Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so again, I just find this whole thing interesting because on the list of places in the great state of Wisconsin that I would want to go to, Green Bay isn't my number one.
Is it even in your top 5?
I don't
but
think so.
When I first went there, it was like, ugh. And I haven't lived there in 20 years. And what they've done in that city is unbelievable. It's changed so much. It's so much better now than it was when I played there. But still, there's no way
Ryan
in
Longwell
hell.
Ryan Longwell was public enemy number 1 for a long time because he made an Applebee's. Not because he disparaged the team on his way out. It's because he got to Minnesota and made an Applebee's joke.
Well, maybe we're attacking this wrong. Maybe we should be proud that a city in the state of Wisconsin made number 1 on the list. Maybe we should adopt Green Bay and be like, that's right, Green frickin' Bay. Hell yeah.
I don't know.
All right, out of the 4 of us.
I'm trying.
Taking your kids to Green Bay
why-
this summer?
why do we have to
You're
try?
going to enjoy a nice little time in Green Bay?
We
Why
go
can't
to
we just-
Wisconsin Dells before we go to Green Bay.
That's what I'm saying.
Go to
All
Door
right,
County
question
before we
for
go
you.
to Green Bay.
Question: where would Green Bay be on the list if the Packers were not there?
Not on.
Non-existent?
Yeah, it would be like 900th.
Like, I don't even know if they would be large enough of a city. Like, people would move out of there, right?
I
Like,
don't
if the
know. It's been
Packers-
100,000 for the last 204 years.
If the Packers did not exist there, I feel that a lot of things would go away, and it'd become a very just small town America.
I mean, it's whatever floats your boat. I mean, we did that poll this offseason or a while ago where we said 100 degrees or minus 30 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like minus 30. That's great. I would say the majority would not like that. Right?
Maybe I'm not giving Green Bay a chance
Why do
here,
we have
but
to
like,
give it a chance? We can just say this is an insane list, and we can be. I don't understand. Why do we have to defend Green Bay? We're
Because
not,
we never
Green
argued.
Bay.
Hold on, we never argued because Madison's always been top 10, maybe top 5, maybe number 1, and we never argue. Madison's got a lot to offer.
it does.
A ton to offer.
But like, this city boasts a thriving entertainment and art scene.
No, it doesn't.
Where?
It does not.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I
it
need
does not.
someone to
Underground.
point the thriving entertainment and art scene. I understand every once in a while they have a big concert at Lambeau Field. You know, I think Paul McCartney was there a couple of years ago. I think Kenny Chesney's been there in the past, but that doesn't happen all the time. Monday Night Raw comes to the Rush Center. Like, what other thriving entertainment and art scene is going on in Green Bay?
I think we need to make a field trip.
I'm good.
I think that
I
the
am
rest of
really
us listen
good.
because
The three of us go two around the board.
I'm planning on going up to training camp this year. I want to see Jordan Love et al. With my own eyes. I want to be able to assess, some of the things that are going on up there. So I'm planning on attending training camp this year. And I think when we're there for training camp, Gabe, we should.
No, it's we.
Just go around. Do a little trippy trip.
But like, where?
I don't know, wherever. That's what we'll find out.
Start
That's
walking.
what we'll find out, Gabe.
Can we pull the car over and ask people to point us towards the thriving entertainment and art scene?
Absolutely, and we should videotape the whole thing, and we should put it on our
Les
social
Miserables
channels.
playing tonight? In what theater?
Les Miserables. We should do a whole segment where we just have French words that Chewy tries to say. In honor of the basketball player, whose
you
name
say
I
it?
get very... Is it Wembenyama?
Victor Wembanyama.
Wembenyama. It's the Wembin.
Wemby.
It's not Wemby, though. That'll mess
Wemby.
you up.
No, we call
Wembenyama,
Wemby.
who, by the way, is going to the Spurs. Greg Popovich. The rich keep getting richer. Although you could argue he hasn't been rich in the last few
been
years.
poor for a
Yeah, that's
while.
what I said. Rich haven't been rich in a few years. But I always think about like the knowledge that's in between his ears and whatnot. It feels like that's a wealth, if you will. You want to have Chewy say?
Miserables.
Do we want Chewy to do French words? We can come up with a whole list.
There you go.
I guess we are going to Green Bay. We'll take a break on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Be right back after this.
Full show podcasts, interviews, and special content is available right now at WisconsinOnDemand.com. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on 94.5 ESPN.
We are seeing some delays northbound on 41 right through the Zoo interchange all the way up past Swan Boulevard. Give yourself a couple of extra minutes. Right now it's about a 20-minute ride to get from the Zoo into up to Highway Q, so it's going to be an extra 6. But for the rest of the system, not too bad. Volume's picking up, but we're moving along at a good clip. Traffic is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, sunny and cooler, a high of 55 at the lakefront, 64 inland tonight. Mostly clear with the low of 43 at the lake, 39 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
It's a classic East battle once again.
Butler leaning in. Butler's foul, makes it in. His first points of the quarter.
The Eastern Conference Finals between the Celtics and Heat tips off Wednesday night.
Tatum in the right side corner, guarded by Embiid. A three is good. Jason Tatum, he's got 51 points.
Game 1 from Boston. Our coverage starts Wednesday night at 7 here on 94.5 ESPN. The NBA on ESPN Milwaukee is sponsored by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
It's ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Latta, and I have told you about the delicious pizza and Italian snacks that you can find at Proof Pizza inside St. Kate the Arts Hotel. But now there's even more to be excited about. The restaurant has added new sandwiches to the menu. Available every day from 11 to 4, you can enjoy items like the Red Rock Chicken BLT, the Meatball Hero, and more. Order from the counter at Proof or directly from the bar at St. Kate. Explore the new sandwiches and the rest of the menu at proofpizzamke.com.
The only diamond more valuable than colorless
is the diamond that is colorful. Pink, yellow, and blue.
In 2016, Christie's auction house sold a 14-carat blue diamond for $56 million.
That's $4 million a carat.
In 2022, Sotheby's auction house sold an 11-carat pink diamond for $57 million.
That's more than $5 million a carat.
These diamonds were born when the Earth was born.
They come from the heart of the earth.
But now there are also pink, yellow, and blue diamonds that were born when you were falling in love.
These created diamonds come from the fiery heart of a miniature sun blazing inside a plasma chamber. Hot, hot, hot.
Pink, yellow, and blue.
Your colorful 1-carat wonder awaits you for $12,000 or less.
Your colorful 3/4 carat miracle awaits you for $8,000 or less.
Get them while you can. Welcome to Kessler's.
To find the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Football, family, and whatever this is.
Jordan Love, he could have put their feet to the fire and said, guarantee me $20 million in 2024, or don't give me the option. And if I show out, then you're going to have to pay me $40 million a year, or $35 million a year.
They went from having the back-to-back MVP to now, well, we are committing to you, but we don't really believe in you, but we believe in you.
Listen to Scalzo and Brust weekdays from 4 to 6 on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Michelob Ultra. It's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Gordy in Menominee Falls. Come on, Gordy. One time, you Gordy.
John Henson.
John Henson.
Let's go, Gordy!
Gordy! Gordy, I love you, buddy.
I swear to God, I thought he was going to talk. I thought he was going to confuse it with the Henson guy from the Muppets.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Bit of self-awareness, reality check for one Joe Barry Carroll, Green Bay Packers defensive coordinator, who admitted yesterday when he spoke to the media for the first time this offseason that he must raise his game to get the most out of a defense that did not live up to expectations last year. He's got to be better. And yes, that's what we want to hear. Right? We want to hear him say...
No, I don't want to hear anything from him because I don't want him to be the defensive coordinator.
But he can't do anything today. He's still got the job. They're not going to fire him between now and the start of the season.
They could.
Crossing your fingers and toes and eyes and everything.
Jen, we live in a world where Green Bay, Wisconsin is the #1 place to live. Anything is possible. The world is open to everything.
Really good point by Gabe Neitzel there. I have to question everything at this point. Barry saying it starts with me. I have to do better in order for this group to play better. I have to do better. And so what would be success for this Green Bay Packers defense this season? Because last year, Gabe, as you remind us often, they ranked 17th.
Mm-hmm.
So considering all of the draft capital that they put towards that side of the ball last year and this year, considering Joe Barry recognizes that last year was not good enough, what do you need to see from this Green Bay Packers defense this year to be like, yes, okay, like Giannis said, it's steps to success? Top third? Middle third? Clearly not bottom third.
No, it's got to be top third. I mean, they were 17th last year. Look at, and it's not just draft capital this year, it's draft capital every year. They spend first-round picks. Okay, so I'm on ESPN.com. Their projected base 3-4 defense. Kenny Clark, first-round pick. TJ Slayton, no. Devontae Wyatt, first-round pick. Preston Smith, high-priced free agent. Devondre Campbell, former first-team All-Pro, high-priced free agent. He eventually became a high-priced free agent. They gave him a bunch of money. Quay Walker, first-round pick. Rashawn Gary, first-round pick. Jair Alexander, first-round pick. Darnell Savage, first-round pick. Razul Douglas gave a bunch of money to Eric Stokes, gave a first-round pick. And then Jonathan Owens right now would be the projected starter at safety. They've spent so much money. They have invested so much capital into this defense. For them to be 17th is terrible. And for Joe Barry Carroll to stand up there and go, we can't waste 10 games like we did last year. Oh, I wonder whose fault that is, Joe.
Wait, that made you mad, huh?
It made me so pissed off.
Why?
Because it's his fault. He's standing up. He might as well be up there in a hot dog costume. We're trying to find the guy who did this.
But I think a lot of time the fans go to Goody instead of this defense just doesn't know how to develop its players. I don't think.
Okay, but
I've always had that problem, Jen, with tight ends, right? You should be able to find, since Jermichael Finley, which feels like eons ago, right? It's got to be
10
years.
12 years ago.
Decade now.
You can't find someone in the 4th, 5th, or 6th round and develop the damn kid into being something pretty good.
Well, let me ask you a question. Does that go back to the college game? Does it go back to the college game not having a huge group to pick from? I mean, look, there's something special about a tight end, right, Chew? Right? From a size standpoint, from a skill standpoint. They're not just growing tight ends on trees. Maybe there just aren't that many great tight ends out there.
I think it's a development kind of thing, It's just, I mean, I thought, who's the kid that just left to go to Chicago? Tunyon. I thought he might have been the guy. I don't know.
But he got hurt.
You know what the problem is? They hire too many of these this is his son's kid, and this is my kid, and he did a favor for me back there. Let's bring this kid. Andy Reid's kid. Andy Reid's kid never played damn football. And they're the linebackers coach at Kansas City? No, you know what they are? Because we had them in Green Bay when I played. They're glorified babysitters, When we won in 92, 93, we had a great staff, but then it starts to get picked apart. Mooch leaves, Dick Duran leaves. All these guys are leaving, and they replace them with babysitters. Holmgren listened to probably 5 guys, and the rest he didn't. When your running backs coach is asleep in the meeting with all the running backs, how do you take that guy seriously?
Sure, but Joe Barry did play at the University of Michigan, and he was a linebacker, so he does have that pedigree.
You don't have
Yeah, but
to
he's
play.
got a record as a coach of being a horrific defensive coordinator. Like, how many more data points do you need to know that this guy stinks?
Like, we always talk about, Ray Rhodes, great defensive coordinator, not a very good head coach. We always say that, but it trickles down even farther, Jen. It's like, horrible defensive coordinator, maybe a good position coach.
But you can't be mad at Joe Barry for that. I've always said, don't hate the player, hate the game.
You could be mad at him for saying he doesn't stink.
No. That it's up to Matt LaFleur to grow a pair and fire the guy.
Yes,
it just is. The guy's not going to fire himself.
Yes.
Nobody's going to go, hey, you know what? I've been really underperforming at this. I'm not sure I'm cut out for this gig. I think I should exit stage left. Nobody's going to do that. So somebody has to say, this isn't working. And since that hasn't happened yet, you have to put the bulk of the blame on Matt LaFleur's feet.
I'm blaming this guy for admitting that he wasted 10 games last year.
Well, I appreciate the self-awareness.
He's wasted 2 years of of Packers defenses. He's got enough talent. Figure it out, Joe.
Blame Matt LaFleur.
Fine, I'll blame Matt LaFleur, too, for not firing him. But Joe Barry is still here. He's still responsible for the defense, not Matt LaFleur.
But this is one of the first times he's ever been self-deprecating.
Self-aware, where he said, I'm not good enough.
Better.
Yeah.
Usually he poo-poos it.
Yeah.
And, my scheme was great.
Yeah. So how many times, Joe, you still going to have guys be 7 yards off the line of scrimmage when it's 3rd and 3?
How about be creative?
We got to keep everything in front of us. Keep everything in front of us, and then give up 363 yards rushing. I'm going to get ticked off anytime this guy says anything in the media this year. Anytime he says anything, it
is true. I mean, how many first-round picks did you just rattle off?
Okay,
One,
but
two,
I don't know how you can make a claim be creative, which is what you just said, Chew. When didn't he introduce to Green Bay the star position? Wasn't that supposed to be some big revelatory position?
Haven't heard about it since his first training camp. Haven't heard a damn thing about it since his first training camp.
It's supposed to be the most versatile defensive player, and he's supposed to be able to have a little more freedom than some of the other players to kind of read the field. That was supposed to be, right? That was, you talking about being creative. That was supposed to be.
Was that when he put Jair in the slot?
Maybe. I don't know.
Which really didn't work out.
I mean, when's the last time you heard Joe Barry talk about the star position?
Well, but again, maybe he doesn't feel like he has the personnel for it.
That's on you then. You can't figure out who the star is when you have invested, when you've got Eric Stokes, Darnell Savage, Jair Alexander as first-round picks in your defensive backfield, and Rasul Douglas, who you gave a bunch of money to. You can't find a star in the star. Jair Alexander's a first-round All-Pro.
He should be able to do it. If Jalen Ramsey was the guy who was doing it with the Rams, which is apparently what Barry is referencing when he talks about the star position, then Jair should be able to play that star position.
Clearly, game time, he struggles with game time adjustments. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it the first game of the year where Justin Jefferson goes off for 220 something, and he doesn't do anything to adjust. What are you doing, bro?
We've got a corner, our best player one of our best players on defense wants to play man. You know what I think I'm going to do? Let's play zone.
Yeah.
Let's play zone.
All this does is it just.
And then there was so much disconnect between the players and Joe Barry last year. You're right, Jen. Not firing Joe Barry could be one of the largest mistakes that Matt LaFleur ever makes.
Because
it's going to start
set
undercutting
them
him
back a year, right? Because let's just say he sucks again this year. Now you go get a new defensive coordinator. Now you got to introduce another defense who's probably not going to be good for maybe 2 at best, 3 years. It just pushes everything back. It all goes back to they are reactive instead of proactive.
But again, you have to blame the head coach for this. You have to blame his supervisor because dude is not going to eliminate himself.
Could this also, back in the day, Chew, and you guys had Sherm, who I don't know how much he was, how much he was listened to, but you also had Fritz, who was tremendous, but you had a couple of good coordinators. But let's say one of them was underperforming. Would Ron Wolf put pressure on Mike Holmgren to, hey, we've got a lot of talent over on the defensive side of the football. Maybe it's time to make a change at D coordinator. Would he get that kind of pressure from the general manager?
No, because Mike was so good at doing it.
Okay.
Mike wouldn't let it get to that point because Mike had babysitters. I'm not going to name names, but guys that were like...
I mean, you name the running backs coach. I'm sure people could do research.
But I mean, there were probably 4 coaches on the team that I'm like, great, wonderful. I know more than you, And I just don't say that. It's just... They don't bring anything to the table.
I also wonder if the dysfunctional setup that the Green Bay Packers have, if Goody would put pressure on, but he can't because Goody and LaFleur, in the eyes of the organization, are equals. And Murphy, I don't think, is going to put pressure while he's micromanaging everything. I don't think Murphy's going to insert himself in matters of assistant coaches.
No, he's not. He's not.
So I don't know if there's pressure on
it goes
the
back to like Stinovich. How good of a coach do we know? We know he's a great O-line coach.
O-line coach.
I don't know what kind of coordinator he is. I mean, Hackett, who was here, right, didn't call plays. We saw that he couldn't call plays in Denver, and now we got. It's just, you know what it is? It's an old boys network. That's what it is.
Do you think the players know it? Because I think about the defense that they've got right now, and I think about how many players they have from the University of Georgia, which has had a really good defense, obviously to the tune of national championships. Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt, Eric Stokes, just to name a few of guys that they've recently drafted from Georgia. And Georgia had Dan Lanning, who was a hell of a defensive coordinator. So good that he got a head coaching job at Oregon because of his performance and because of the defense's performance at Oregon. Do you think these guys know? You think they're looking around going, man, we had it figured out at Georgia. Like Lanning had us clicking as a unit. Why can't this guy? Or do you think they're like, no, the league is so different than college. It's apples and oranges. You can't compare, and they're giving Barry a chance. Because once the players, if they do at all think this guy doesn't know what he's doing, like we had it better when we were in college, and that's saying something. Like then I think you have an environment that is like ripe for toxicity.
I don't know about the young guys. I really don't. But I would have a hard time believing Jair Alexander believes in Joe Barry Carroll. And if we best defensive player doesn't, my guess is that there would be a trickle down. Jair does not seem like somebody who is going to be quiet. If he is saying things in the media, my guess is he's also let his disdain be known within that locker room.
But a good coach, Jen, at this level is a coach that knows his place. Because I told the story before. Mike Sherman, first day on the job, probably at a mini camp. Mike coached in college, Texas A&M O-line coach, handed me the clicker to run the meeting. And he said, all right, coach us up how to play tight end. Which was smart. And Mike learned. Mike was a learner. He learned. He always wanted information. And he did that to make himself a better coach to the point where he became head coach of the Green Bay Packers and was pretty damn good at it until he gave Favre all that power.
Well, and the Packers gave him all the power, and he kind of picked some bad players.
Yeah. Now, and then you have coaches that go in and like, you're gonna not tell me what to do here. I am the coach and end all be all. Yeah, suck it, Trebek.
You were doing so well until the suck it, Trebek. This is interesting stuff. We got a lot of reaction rolling in on the ESPN Milwaukee talk and text line. We'll get to some of your reaction right after this. Gabe?
Best place to get and to shop for diamond engagement rings, of course. In Milwaukee, it's only at the Jewelry Center. Their team of specialists are going to help you bring her dream to life. They did for me. Now, I knew what my wife wanted in an engagement ring. I went online at shoptjc.com and I looked at their online inventory. However, if you are a little unsure, take a look at her Pinterest board. If you bring some of those ideas that she's got saved on her Pinterest board to the helpful team at the Jewelry Center, they're going to take care of the rest. Maybe you're looking to give some stud earrings. You've got an anniversary coming up, just like I do. The Jewelry Center has options, 2, 3, 4 carat total weight diamonds, lab grown or naturally mined. You've got the option with the Jewelry Center. Learn more about the diamond jewelry selection on their website at shoptjc.com or stop in at any one of their 3 convenient locations in Greenfield, Brookfield, or in Burlington. The best place to shop for those diamond engagement rings, of course, it's only at the Jewelry Center.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
We do have an accident 94 eastbound, just east of Highway 83, right about at Maple Avenue. It's off on the left shoulder, backing things up past Highway 83, so keep that in mind. Eastbound 94 starting to slow down a little bit from about 84th Street to Hawley Road. Northbound on 41, backing up out of the Zoo interchange up past Swan Boulevard. Traffic is brought to you by the Club at Lac La Belle, the birthplace of golf in Wisconsin. Schedule your tee time at club@laclabelle.com and start your journey. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, sunny and cooler, a high of 55 at the lakefront, 64 inland. Tonight, mostly clear with the low of 43 at the lake, 39 inland. Weather is brought to you by National Liquor Mart at 16th and National in Milwaukee, packed with the best beer, liquor, seltzer, and spirit deals in town. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, where your satisfaction is their plan of action. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, sponsored by Ridgetop Exteriors on 94.5 ESPN.
It's a bird bash at Potawatomi. Thursdays, you could win up to $50,000 cash in the Bird Bash Game Show. Just play with your club card this May for a chance to win. Wouldn't you like to kick off spring with some tweet cash? Bird Bash, only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info at paysbig.com/birdbash. Must be 21 years old to play.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention veterans, active duty military, civilians, and contractors. If you were issued earplugs between 1999 and 2015 and were diagnosed with hearing loss or ringing in the ears, you may be entitled to compensation. The manufacturer of these military earplugs recently paid $9.1 million to resolve claims that their earplugs were defective, potentially exposing service members to damaging sound levels that could have resulted in hearing loss or tinnitus. If you or a loved one were issued earplugs and were diagnosed with tinnitus or hearing loss, don't wait. You fought for this country, and our attorneys want to fight for you. Call 800-725-0565 now for a free legal consultation and to see if you may be eligible to file a claim. Time restrictions may apply, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. So call 800-725-0565 now. Again, 800-725-0565. That's 800-725-0565.
Progressive covers pets in our auto policy at no extra charge. Now, let's hear what your dog has to say.
As a dog, I think Progressive's auto pet policy is... Oh, what is that? That's just Mateo. Weird. Anyway, Progressive protects... There it is again. See? This is why I need protection. I'm so distracted. Nope, that is still Mateo.
Progressive Auto Insurance covers pets for up to $1,000 in a car accident at no extra charge. And we think your dog would say that's great, too. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
Wow, Total Wine really does have everything. I found your favorite bourbon, an awesome vodka. Oh, and Ruthie.
Ruthie?
That's me. Always happy to help. Honey, Ruthie found that amazing Cabernet you loved.
Oh yeah, that Cabernet was really good.
And we have it for the lowest price in town.
We've got to get another bottle. So glad we found Ruthie.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, be 21.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Care. You can just save yourself so much time by going, okay, we like this guy, this guy, this guy. Let's take a look at all the different things he did at the Combine. I just hit my phone, and now my hand is just tingling.
No, what is with you two today? Jesus. Do you know how to function?
I just like...
On 94.5 ESPN.
We expect, this is the greatest thing about not only the National Football League, but being at the Green Bay Packers. Expectations are high all the time, no matter what. So regardless of the fact, I'm very aware of our roster. I'm very aware of the draft status of all of our players. But expectations are and should be high all the time.
So what are your expectations for the Green Bay Packers defense this year? Ranked 17th last season, made strides as the season went on. Kind of were dumpster fiery early on, especially the first 12 games, but figured it out for that 4-game stretch in there, right, where the Packers rattled off a bunch of wins. At least it felt that way, that they played better late.
Sure.
You're not convinced.
Well, no, I mean, okay, so let's go ahead and run through the teams that they played better against. So they played better after giving up 363 yards on the ground and 500 yards of offense. Still gave up 400 yards of offense to the Chicago Bears right after that. Still won that game, but gave up 400 yards of offense to a team that had 0 weapons. Then they beat up on a Los Angeles Rams team that had Baker Mayfield starting for the first time. They beat up on a Miami Dolphins team who had a pretty good first half, and then when Tua went out, struggled in the second half. Yes, then they played well for a game against the Minnesota Vikings, and then they lost against the Detroit Lions. And I placed more of that on the offense, that Lions game, but the Lions splits road home last year. They were a terrible road team. They were fantastic at home with their offense. I don't know. I don't think that the defense really stood out to me they played tremendous outside of that Minnesota Viking game.
And it's not like they were uber young. I mean, you'd give them a pass if they were really, really young, but they weren't. I mean, these guys have been around. The core of them have been around for a long time, and especially when expectations were so high, they were the farthest thing from a top 10 defense. 17 to me felt like 25.
Yeah.
The year just didn't feel good.
Year before, they were 13th in points, 9th in yards.
Why should we have confidence in this guy?
You shouldn't. You shouldn't. If you do, I would love to hear from you, 800-990-3776. I would love to hear from somebody who somehow has confidence in Joe Barry Carroll, despite doing this for 6 seasons in the NFL and giving you 0 reason to have confidence.
So I question this, guys, though, because when we get frustrated about what's happening on the field, you try to split the hair of how much of this is coaching and how much of this is execution. Because we have talked about how, sure, expectations are high, but from a personal level, expectations should be high as well. And if guys are out there and they're not executing, doesn't that fall on their shoulders? Or are you saying they're not being put in a position to succeed?
They're not being put in a position to succeed. When you're playing 7 yards off on 3rd and 3, to me, you're being coached to do that. Because I don't think anybody's football instincts, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Chew, but I don't think your football instincts should be telling you 3rd and 3 to be giving that much cushion. So in my mind,
his scheme sucks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In my mind, that's what he's doing. His scheme is keep everything in front.
Yeah,
it's the old Tampa 2.
Can you imagine that this year, Jen? Let's keep everything in front of us this year. Limit. I mean, this offense is not going to score points, especially early. They're not. This is going to take time. Now, hopefully, like last year, they get better as things go. But if they're going to do this bend but don't break again, they're not going to win a lot of games.
You've got one of your best players who you know and the world knows loves to play man-to-man and wants to match up with other receivers one-on-one. You finally let him do it in Week 17. Do I have faith that Joe Barry Carroll, is going to go and allow Jair Alexander to shadow the best receiver Week 1? Is he going to be matching up with DJ Moore against the Chicago Bears? I don't have faith in that.
Come on. After what happened last year where Jair basically called him out in the public, in the press, and was like, I would have liked to have been. If you don't pivot then yes.
Well, he didn't pivot until Week 17.
But I'm saying this season, if you didn't go back and look, sometimes, guys, I think that we forget, forest for the trees in these situations, right? These guys are in it, man. They are so in it. It can be difficult to really fine-tooth comb your way through some of these old games because you're focused on the next game and you're focused on the scheme for that game. You're focused on their playmakers and whatnot. But certainly during the offseason, you are able to go through play by play, moment by moment, person by person who was not in the position to succeed, who was not doing what they were supposed to be doing, who you didn't give the best chance to cover their man. You know what I'm saying? So now there should be no excuses. You should have gone back and looked at each and every one of those plays and said, here's where I should have done this differently, here's where I should have done this differently, and then try to figure out how to make that work this season.
The three of us are not in any meeting rooms. Chewy used to be. I know that you put Jair Alexander in man-to-man and shadow the best receiver. You trying to be smarter than that? you're doing too much.
Yeah.
Like that to me is you're doing way too much.
Is that what you chalk it up to? You chalk it up to, well, they're going to think that we are going to do this, so we're not going to do
If you're
what they
good
think
enough.
we're going to do. We're going to do something that they don't think that we're going to do.
Yeah, and then you come up with the annexation of Puerto Rico and your little giants, right? Like,
Hey, it worked, man.
One time.
My problem is this: when you have drop-offs, big drop-offs from players that shown they could do it, like Devondre Campbell, right?
Yeah.
He showed us he could play.
non-existent last year.
Didn't have a good year. That's on the player, but it's also on the coach. When I would have a questionable game, which is few and far between, I must say, Andy would pull me in and be like, dude, I expect more from you. I expect more from you. What are you doing? It's just, it's inexcusable. I don't know if these are good coaches. I don't know if they can develop. Darnell Savage, right? Rookie year. We all thought he was going to be pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's terrible. What happened? He's in the prime. He's probably 25, 26 years old. That is when you are in your prime. You are just starting your prime.
Was benched last year.
Yes.
Was benched. And honestly, that's also my cautionary tale for curbing excitement over on the offensive side of the football.
Douglas, another one. He showed it, right?
He wasn't going to have
last year.
Yeah, wasn't going to have 5 interceptions again.
I mean, you can't blame Goody for those type of things.
Let's get to some reaction from our loyal listeners on the ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. Let's see. Justin and Racine saying we should have zero confidence in Joe Barry.
Correct.
Matt LaFleur's job is on the line by keeping him around, especially with Jim Leonard and Mike Zimmer available. Why wouldn't we have made this change during the offseason? Our guy in Jacksonville weighing in saying coaching is all about getting players to buy in, but the good coaches find out what makes each player's tick. You guys talk about scheme like you can just plug any player into any scheme, but it doesn't work that way. You need to tailor your scheme to the personnel you have. Is he trying to say that that's what Joe Barry has had to do?
No, I think he's saying that's what Joe Barry hasn't done. Famously, what I think has made Bill Belichick the greatest coach potentially of all time, but certainly of his generation, is his willingness he adjusts. Like, okay, here are the players I have. Here are the best things I can do for these players. Bill Belichick hasn't been running the same offense and defense for the last 25 years there.
True,
He's made
but
those
he
tinkers
also-
around the personnel that he has.
But he also has been able to pick the personnel. He has also been able to hand select personnel, as opposed to a guy like Brian Gutekunst picking the team and then handing it over to Matt LaFleur et al. And then being like, here you go, good luck, have fun, right? It'd be like if you're making me a dinner, do you want to buy the ingredients? You want me to go buy the ingredients and then present them to you and say, here you go, make me something great.
I've seen some people do some pretty good things on Chopped. Have you seen what they put in those baskets?
That's true.
It's terrible.
Insane. I could do it.
I'm not a big Barry believer by any means, but once again, this season seems like a moment where Goody slips by without any blame. Maybe he's just bad at this. Theoretically, there should be enough talent on this defense with all the high picks for them to still finish in the top half of the league, regardless of who is the coordinator.
But that's the thing. Like, and they did finish in the top half, but with all the talent that they've supposedly amassed between the money
17?
they've paid, between the money they've paid and the picks they've made, like they should be top 10. Like I would be, and maybe this is something I should do over the next week, is do some research between first-round picks and money allocated to your defense. And I can't imagine that there are going to be many teams that have given more money or spent more high draft capital on their defense. Maybe San Francisco.
But
in
they were
terms of
good
some of the
last
money.
year.
Yes, but they've actually been able to reap those benefits of the money that they've spent on that defense.
I'll be looking for one thing from him this year, and what he does with Quay Walker, because I think this guy is special. I think he should have packages within games that are just blitz packages for him, because I really think this kid someday is going to be Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's that good. Get his emotions under control, cut this guy loose. If he just drops him into coverage all day long, then this guy's an idiot. This league is all about creative. What do we drop our jaw at during a game? A blitz that's like, holy cow, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
When's the last time we said that about Green Bay?
Yeah, where somebody comes
Like
and the
Leroy
offense
back
isn't
in the
expecting
day.
it. Yeah.
Leroy back. Oh, what a great call. So that's what I'm going to be looking for.
Josh in Whitewater weighing in saying keeping Joe Barry Carroll is by far the worst move the Pack has made. Even when the defense played okay, it was because they got lucky breaks. You can only coach getting turnovers so far. It depends on poor decisions by the other team. It is an unreliable thing. Josh in Whitewater. Get pumped up, guys, because Potawatomi Casino Hotel is bringing 24 sports betting to the great city of Milwaukee. I know it might not be ranked as high as Green Bay, but we got the Potawatomi Sports Book here, and that is saying a lot. Enjoy the convenience of self-service kiosks, odds boards, wall-to-wall TVs, free parking, great food, and a full-service bar. Put your game face on, guys. It is time to bet big and bet bold at the Potawatomi Sportsbook at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN. They talk about everything, but sports always comes first.
The Packers are rebuilding. They can say whatever they want. They're rebuilding. I understand the head coach doesn't say it. I understand the players don't like it. But they're rebuilding. They're rebuilding, of course. I vote yes. It has
and
to
I
be
know
yes.
they're rebuilding.
You're Pebble, are the Packers rebuilding?
100% rebuilding. Yes.
Hell yeah! That will make the hell yes will be the absolute.
Spend your afternoons with Homer and Tony. Weekdays 2 to 4 on 94.5 ESPN.
Hey, this is Bo stepping in for Ridgetop Larry. Ridgetop Exteriors is Wisconsin's #1 choice for roofing, siding, windows, and doors. We are the trusted local experts who live and work in the areas we serve, which means we're helping friends and neighbors too. On top of that, Ridgetop Exteriors offers the most affordable payment options, including no interest and low interest financing. For your free estimate, visit ridgetopexteriors.com. Roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Visit ridgetopexteriors.com.
He's a former coach with 2 sons who played professional basketball. Satch Sullinger's a competitive individual, but his golf game was suffering because of painful joints.
Right, that's real important. The golf game. Right. As we get older, we create these bad habits because we're relegated to hit a certain way.
QC Kinetics used regenerative treatments, all natural healing properties from Satch's own body, to restore those damaged joints and get his golf game back on track.
QC Kinetics regenerative medicine is regenerating me, all natural. And that's what I'm about. I'm going to tell everybody why I'm better.
Oh, and by the way, looks like the competitive Satch is back.
We're all in the same boat, and I'm getting better, and I'm watching them stay old.
Go to QCkinetics.com. Get relief and your game back. Call for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
RJ Schenner has several Toshiba copier printers from James Imaging Systems. IT Manager Gabe Colasari.
The reason why for James Imaging is their responsiveness, dedication, knowledge of the product, and they always make sure that the customer is taken care of.
The kind of customer service you'd expect from a 100% Wisconsin-owned and managed office technology company like James Imaging Systems.
We actually have a high-end printing machine on site, so we produce our own catalogs, so we need the support to handle that.
James Imaging Systems, better document imaging technology, better service.
When we got a problem, we're able to call in and get it rectified or corrected without any issues.
Gabe, any advice to other local businesses?
Contact James. they'll take care of you.
James Imaging Systems, reliable document imaging technology, extraordinary local service. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local office technology partner.
Gabe, where do you think our group should be taking our golf trip next year?
Jason, I don't know. Do you have time to figure it all out and get all the reservations made? I certainly don't.
Not really. I mean, I'm so busy. If I only knew somebody to call that might do all the work for us.
Oh, I know about Wisconsin Golf Trips. Their main business is booking groups from around the world to play all the great courses in our state, but they're now doing outbound trips for groups each year to places like Michigan, Minnesota, and Nevada. Plus, Wisconsin Golf Trips is even booking custom packages for Scotland and Ireland.
Oh, wow. Let's hit them up.
WisconsinGolfTrips.com.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Come on, guys. Let's think about this. Could you do 50 straight days of burgers?
That was very condescending. I just
No,
want to be
no,
clear
that's
on
not.
the tone.
Let's put our heads together.
Do this.
Again, I have children. I know condescending when I hear it.
I can be. Come on,
On 94.5 ESPN.
Keep getting us your reaction to the Green Bay Packers defense, what your expectations are this year. Gabe has less than zero faith, confidence in Joe Barry Carroll, the defensive coordinator, and his ability to turn this sucker around, no matter how much talent they put around Joe Barry Carroll. And it does appear, Gabe, as though many Packers fans agree with you, that there is no proof or evidence that would support this guy deserving this role.
I mean, we were all skeptical of him when he was hired because of the jobs he previously did in Washington and Detroit. And he has done absolutely nothing over the past 2 years to ease those concerns.
What number does he have to get to keep his job? 12?
No. Come on.
What do you mean,
be
12?
top 10.
What is?
Rank 12 at the end of the year.
Top 10.
No way. Not with LaFleur.
They have to be top 10. Otherwise, you can't really justify him still being there.
It's LaFleur.
But how can he continue
Because
to
LaFleur
justify
would go to
it?
him and say, you're fired. He'd say, no, I'm not. He'd be like, okay. You're not. Top 10?
Yes.
I'm saying 12.
And they're not going to be top 10.
I have zero confidence.
Correct. That's
they
what I'm
would be
saying.
top
Like,
10.
I think they have the talent to be a top 10 defense because I like a lot of the individual pieces that they have, but it's Joe Barry's job to put all those pieces together and somehow make it a cohesive unit. And he has not done that.
Yeah, you can't call these players busts. How many, no matter how many first-round picks he has.
Like, because Kenny Clark, really good player, right? Like, we all really like Kenny Clark.
Yes.
Devontae Wyatt, young first-rounder, needs to get opportunities.
Hold on. Kenny Clark underachieved through his career so far?
Last year wasn't as good as
I would say
in the
he
past.
underachieved last year.
I would say...
I think he's been really good.
But he earned his contract that he got, was it 2 years ago he got that extension? He earned it.
Yeah, but even Stokes' rookie year, he was promising, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of...
Took the Darnell Savage step back. Roswell Douglas took a step back. Preston Smith is solid. Preston Smith is what he is at this point. He's going to be a guy that, sets the edge for you on the run game. He's going to get you 7, 8, 9 sacks. Devondre Campbell has to be better. We all know how good Rashawn Gary can be. How is he good? Is he going to be coming off an ACL? Like, there's still questions. And by the way, I have no idea about their safeties either.
No.
Like, you benched Darnell Savage, and now you brought in Jonathan Owens. Maybe he's okay.
Who nobody really wanted.
So we're saying that we think they have to be in the top 10, top third of all defenses next year. But what will they be? What is your prediction right now for what the defense will be? Ashley will put it on the Jen, Gabe, and Chewy Twitter poll. What do you think the defense is going to be next year? Top third, mid third, bottom third? We roll on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy right after this.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
We do have an accident 94 eastbound, just east of Highway 83, right about at Maple Avenue. It's off on the left shoulder, backing things up past Highway 83, so keep that in mind. Eastbound 94 starting to slow down a little bit from about 84th Street to Hawley Road. Northbound on 41, backing up out of the Zoo interchange up past Swan Boulevard. Traffic is brought to you by the Club at Lac La Belle, the birthplace of golf in Wisconsin. Schedule your tee time at club@laclabelle.com and start your journey. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, sunny and cooler, a high of 55 at the lakefront, 64 inland. Tonight, mostly clear with the low of 43 at the lake, 39 inland. Weather is brought to you by National Liquor Mart at 16th and National in Milwaukee, packed with the best beer, liquor, seltzer, and spirit deals in town. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, where your satisfaction is their plan of action. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called Testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text HUNK to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text HUNK to 321321. That's HUNK to 321321.
It's a classic East battle once again.
Butler leaning in. Butler's foul makes it in. His first points of the quarter.
The Eastern Conference Finals between the Celtics and Heat tips off Wednesday night.
Tatum in the right side corner, guarded by Embiid. A three is good. Jason Tatum, he's got 51 points.
Game 1 from Boston. Our coverage starts Wednesday night at 7 here on 94.5 ESPN. The NBA on ESPN Milwaukee is sponsored by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Homer here. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Showtime. The right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Let's talk about peacocks for a moment. Do you have any idea what sound a peacock makes? Is a peacock like a turkey? Is a peacock...
Peacock makes...
It doesn't make that sound. Who is it?
Let's go.
No, I got work to do.
What? This is work.
Dancing in Highsmith, we rolling heavy. Cream puffs.
You can't keep me cooped up in here, okay? I am a peacock. You gotta let me fly.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
What were we talking about?
Yeah.
Peacocks?
Yeah.
We have a peacock crossing in Florida.
Really? Have you ever
Yeah.
seen a peacock?
Yeah.
Crossing.
Yes.
Really?
Get the feathers up and everything, where the feathers down is across the road.
I've only ever seen a peacock at the zoo.
This case is talking to us. I'm a peacock, Captain. You gotta let me fly on this one. You know what, Terry? Let's just settle this. Peacocks don't fly.
They fly a little. They get a real running
About as
start.
much as a penguin.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamorro. Here's Jen Latta.
Running around, she wants to ride and she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her man look like he wanna fight. He ain't doing nothing but running his mouth.
One of the things we love about football, at all levels, is the team aspect of it. The team. It is very hard for one guy in football, unlike in the NBA, which we are watching highlights from the NBA playoffs as we speak here in the studio. Unlike in the NBA, it's very difficult for one guy to really affect the outcome of a game. Yes, you can have a running back who can run all over the place, Derrick Henry style, but at some point that becomes predictable. What has always been interesting to me about football is it can be very difficult to split the pie. Who is to blame for a busted play? Who deserves credit for a brilliant play? And it would appear as though Davante Adams has also had issues with those existential questions. Who made who? Davante Adams was quoted in an article on The Ringer yesterday. Really interesting stuff. Davante Adams, who, of course, the Green Bay Packers will see this year when the Green Bay Packers take on the Raiders. But he was talking about how it was so important for him, Chew, to be an all-pro this past year with the Raiders because it validated him. People could no longer say to him, Aaron Rodgers made you. And I kind of get it. I have said on this show and in other places, Rodgers is one of those people who sucks the oxygen out of the room. It becomes all about him. Now, some of that is not his fault. He's a superstar in the biggest sport you could argue in the world. I know that the soccer and English Premier League and whatnot would have an argument about that, but still, the NFL does reign supreme. And so it can be difficult to coexist with someone like that. But this article, Chew, indicated that Davante was struggling with that dynamic. Not Rodgers specifically, don't mishear me, don't misquote me, but he was struggling with the dynamic of these two players and feeling as though he was never getting enough credit for as good as he was. Fair or unfair?
That's unfair. Nothing bothers receivers more than saying Brett Favre made these receivers. It's like saying you couldn't play anywhere else except for Green Bay, which is essentially what Davante's saying, which is a bunch of garbage. But if we're to buy into that, why doesn't it flip? Devontae leaves and Aaron Rodgers, you stink.
Well, because
you didn't throw a one game for over 300 yards.
Yeah, but
does he get the pass on these receivers aren't very good? Hold on. I thought you make everyone better.
So the one thing, Aaron's got, 4 MVPs and he once made Jeff Janis have 100 yards on a single possession in a playoff game, right? So Rodgers has decades of experience. And you take a look at the list of players who have been top dog for the Packers and have gone elsewhere. Greg Jennings, what did he do outside of Green Bay? Stunk. Jordy Nelson, what did he do outside of Green Bay? Nothing. James Jones, what did he do outside of Green Bay? Nothing. Had to come back. What did Randall Cobb do outside of Green Bay? Not really much. Ended up having to come back. Like all of the top receivers that have ever played with Aaron Rodgers and then moved on to elsewhere have not found the success that they had with 12, or I guess now 8, but they didn't have that success, right?
But all these guys were past prime, Gabe. They were not in their prime.
Jennings
he
left.
Was still.
Jennings left at a very similar point in his career.
I'm just saying,
Devontae, Devontae's a Hall of Famer, and I guess maybe he didn't feel the respect that he thought he deserved from the Packers fan base. I thought that a lot of Packers fans, again, being disappointed that he was traded away last season, I thought Packers fans felt that he was putting together a Hall of Fame resume with Aaron Rodgers, but it's the way the NFL goes. Who deserves all of the credit?
But
you can't ever split it up like when Belichick and Brady split up.
Yeah.
Oh, who's the true
No, all I'm
alpha
saying,
dog?
Gabe, is if you take me as a player and put me on San Francisco with Steve Young, I'm the same player.
Sure.
Or Dallas with Troy Aikman, I'm Jay Novacek light.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put me with Trent Dilfer, yeah, of course my numbers aren't going to be the same.
Well, and the argument, which again, good for Devontae Adams for being all pro last year, and this meant a lot to him to be able to say, I'm good, I'm not just a product of playing with Aaron Rodgers, but the Raiders stunk. They go 6-11 last year? I mean, they were a bad team.
Yeah.
So here's what popped in my head, guys. We have given an awful lot of blame to Goody and the Packers front office for not being able to make it work with Devontae Adams. Maybe this is part of the reason he left. Maybe part of the reason he left Green Bay was because he felt that as long as he was in Green Bay, he was never going to get his due as a wide receiver.
Sure, but you should have locked him up before that thought crossed his mind.
But again, maybe he wanted to go elsewhere to show that he could survive, quote unquote, because again, 6-11 is not necessarily thriving, it is just surviving, but that he could thrive on his own elsewhere.
If the Packers offered him to be the highest paid receiver in football in March of 21, he's still a Green Bay
But
Packer
then he
today.
can't
Sure.
fulfill this prophecy.
He can't fulfill this part, but Goody still screwed up. I'm not letting Goody off the hook on this one.
He screwed up, yeah.
He screwed up.
He did.
I'm
not saying they won the Super Bowl last year, but they're certainly not 8 and 9.
But again, if Devontae is going to tell us that going to the Raiders lifted this huge weight off of his shoulders,
yes,
you have to at least in part say, this guy was gone no matter what.
Yes.
No.
No.
I think you don't think he was sick of Rodgers at all?
Well, but again, if you offer him a contract in March of 21 before any of these thoughts,
It never gets to that point,
he's
right?
a first-time All-Pro. It never gets to that point.
Yeah.
Never gets to
and
the
maybe he starts. Maybe he wonders to himself, "Hey, I wonder what it would be like to be without Aaron Rodgers." But also, I think he saw in Green Bay, because there in 2020 when Rodgers had to miss a game, Devontae Adams had to play with Jordan Love.
Yeah.
And Jordan Love did not play well against the Kansas City Chiefs that year. It was not great 2021. Did not play great. And I think he went, if Aaron Rodgers retires, I don't know if this is the guy I want to entrust my, again, like you said.
I totally agree.
Play with
And
Steve Young, your
I-
numbers are similar. You
yeah.
play with Trent Dilfer, it's a lot
I
different.
thought it was Joe. Joe Young? Steve Young, right?
John.
Darn it. J-O.
Joe Namath.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think I said last week that the one thing Jordan Love have to do is get quicker, because that's the one thing when you play with Brett or Aaron or whatever, and then you go to a backup, which I had to do a couple times, TJ Rubley in I think Detmer. It's always like, come on, get me the ball. You're always wait, come on. That's the problem with Jordan Love. He's a click too late. And that's coaching.
At least he has been. Let's see how he goes when he gets out there in live action this year. Justin from Milwaukee weighing in on our ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line and asking a question that I also thought while reading this article on theringer.com about Davante Adams' time in Las Vegas. He feels like maybe Davante is doing the old Nick Barnett thing because he's saying that this is just not true. Everybody valued Davante Adams as a top wide receiver in the league. He was the top of so many lists for the best wide receiver in football from 2018 to 2021. Like, he can feel that way, but that just wasn't true. That from Justin in Milwaukee. There is a part of me that also says, like, Davante, nobody was sliding you, homie.
No.
Like, not a single person out there was going,
But again,
this guy doesn't have it. This guy ain't got it.
Because he can't, like, the game that stands out the most to me was from 2021, and they're playing San Francisco, and 49ers score, Packers get the ball back with 43 seconds left, down 2, no timeouts, and Aaron, like, everybody in the world knows that Davante Adams is getting the football. Everybody in the world. And San Francisco, with one of the best defenses in the league over the last 2-3 years, and Davante gets open twice, and Aaron finds him both times. But part of that is, it's not like Aaron made these spectacular throws into these tiny little windows. Like, Davante just found a way to get separation despite being the number one priority against that San Francisco 49er defense. Mason Crosby makes the game-winning field goal. Packers win the game like week 3, week 4.
You think they're any good with Garoppolo under center?
No.
Because, again, we have criticized Aaron Rodgers. People have criticized Aaron Rodgers at times for even mentioning individual accolades, right? The very first retort was, no one cares about what you do as an individual. It's a team sport, and your team underperformed 8 and 9, and meh. But couldn't we say the same thing about Davante? Couldn't we sit here and go, cool, you put an awful lot of cachet into whether or not you were all pro, and yet you lost 11 games as a team, guy?
Yeah. As Chewy says, Davante got his guy.
You got my guy. But I think this comes full circle. I think what's the coach's name in Los Angeles?
Josh McDaniels.
I don't think he's very good. I mean, how are you that bad with that offense?
So you think he was a product of Belichick then? You think he was just a product of Belichick?
I think good old coordinator, not a very good head coach.
He's kind of proven it now.
He's trying.
Twice, two different spots.
They'll probably really prove it this year when they go, 8 and 9 or whatever. Again.
And then the other little detail from this article, guys, it's very interesting. If you find yourself with some time today, I highly recommend this article on theringer.com about Davante Adams' time
By the way,
in Las Vegas.
Written by Miran Fader, who wrote the Giannis book.
Correct. Where he talks about how he has input on the roster. Oh, isn't that interesting?
It's contagious.
Something else that we have been very critical about Aaron Rodgers wanting. And at times been like, yes, he certainly has earned it. But again, how is he going to handle it if the front office does not take his suggestions? And Davante Adams saying that the front office has welcomed his input on roster moves. He's grateful to be included in those conversations. He understands he doesn't make the final decisions, but he is trying to make the team better, and he wants to offer his input where it is welcomed.
Also doesn't see eye to eye with the front office, which has led to some speculation of whether or not he wants to be in Vegas long term.
Who the GM is there now?
I do not.
Okay. I was just wondering, because what's his name that used to work for ESPN that got canned with Gruden?
Dave Ziegler.
Ziegler? Who's the guy I'm thinking of? Mike Mayock.
Mayock.
Yeah, BC guy.
Do you just have a Rolodex of everyone who ever went to BC that maybe you may come across and talk about on the radio in that head of yours?
Maybe. Can I ask you guys a question, though? Because it's been bothering me.
If I say no, you're still going to ask.
Is this a whole other segment?
No, I think it ties into what we've been talking about. Why were the Jets 12 in power ranking?
It has nothing to do with
that
what
one's
we
on
were
us.
talking
Yeah, that one's
about.
hand up. That's on all of us.
Well, we mentioned Aaron Rodgers a couple of times here in reference to Davante Adams.
Seriously, why? I don't. Is that ESPN doesn't like Rodgers or
the AFC is incredibly
deep. We rattled those teams off yesterday. I mean, the NFC had a tough time
be in the top 10.
Yes, you're right. The AFC is really, really good, and that's why it does seem like maybe they are going to have a tough time winning some of those games.
I personally would put them ahead of the Dolphins because I have Tua health questions. Like, when he's healthy, I think he's proven he can move the ball with that team, but
If the Jets knew that they were going to be 12 in the power rankings, they would have never traded for him.
They don't give a rip what the power rankings are.
He's saying if the Jets knew or thought they were going to be what were they? The eighth? No, what were they? The 8th AFC team, the 7th AFC team. If they thought they were going to be the 7th AFC team,
I don't.
They wouldn't have traded for Rodgers.
Yeah, but they think they're better than the 7th AFC team with Aaron Rodgers.
We're gonna find out.
We are.
We're gonna find out.
Relationship with power rankings, like your end
It's very
all be
intimate.
all.
It's very intimate.
But every time we do it, you're like, "This is stupid. I don't know why we do this."
Your famous line is, "I don't agree." Stop giving the list merit.
Come up with your own list.
Right.
You basically validate it every single week, and then invalidate it in the same breath.
I would power rank every day if we could.
We know. You love it.
I can.
But the thing is that you don't power rank. You just rely on someone else's list.
Like Reese's eggs, 12 on the list.
Well, tomorrow is National Reese's
12
Day.
on the list.
I don't know, Ashton. I don't know if I was supposed to do a read, but I just threw everything. So
Okay, well, Jen, do you have one in front of you?
Oh,
there,
sure,
please?
sure. I can find
Because
it.
Gabe's unprofessional and
it's
useless.
not my fault. He said something stupid.
He says it every
I
minute.
think he's agreeing with me.
I'm not agreeing with you. You're wrong, and I'm not going to be here tomorrow to help with the taste test, so it doesn't matter.
What?
Yeah, I'm off tomorrow.
Why?
It's
Chewy's
been on the
not here.
schedule for
So
like 3
Gabe
weeks.
and I are just going to eat some Reese's and call it a day.
I mean, I'll take some home
Oh,
today.
it does say Ashton on.
I'll go to the store and get one.
Wait, what are you doing tomorrow?
I have the Sharp Literacy's doing their.
Oh, yeah.
it's tomorrow.
Oh, the cook-off.
Yeah. We can talk about that later.
We will.
Okay.
Consider Professional Construction Inc. and Waukesha for all of your construction needs. Whether it's a commercial project like a multifamily or an office, or you are doing what we are doing, remodeling your basement. Yeah, it's going to be a chore. It's going to be a challenge, but we would not do it without the PCI team. Mike and Michelle coming over tomorrow, help us put the finishing touches on the plan, and then we will get working. And they can do the same for you. If you are in the market for a home addition, building a new home, a remodeling project, I cannot endorse Mike and Michelle over at PCI enough because they believe in building relationships and giving back to the community as well as doing exceptional work on your project. For more information, just go to their website, professionalconstructioninc.com, professionalconstructioninc.com, and tell them Jen from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy sent you.
Full show podcasts, interviews, and special content is available right now at WisconsinOnDemand.com. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on 94.5 ESPN.
We have an accident now on 94 westbound. It is right at the beginning of the 25th Street off-ramp. It's a flatbed semi off on the right side, so be careful with that. Otherwise, the eastbound side slowing down from about 76th Street through the stadium, northbound on 41 out of the Zoo interchange all the way up past Swan Boulevard is going to be heavy, with the southbound side backing up right around Burleigh all the way down around the North Avenue curve. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, sunny and cooler, a high of 55 at the lakefront, 64 inland tonight, mostly clear with the low of 43 at the lake. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
No one else does it like Scalzo and Brust.
Nick, welcome to Scalzo and Brust. You hate us so much, but we love you.
Yes or no. Just say yes or no once in a while. You're always hedging, but you say there's no gray area. I don't understand it.
Where are we
But
hedging,
I can't
Nick, in
stop
Lake Mills?
listening.
Yeah, that's it. You're hooked, baby. You're hooked. 1 or 0.
Yeah, you
He's a
got me.
1,
You got
baby.
me.
He's a 1.
Scalzo and Brust. Weekdays 4 to 6 on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Michelob Ultra.
Hey, this is Bo stepping in for Ridgetop Larry. Ridgetop Exteriors is Wisconsin's #1 choice for roofing, siding, windows, and doors. We are the trusted local experts who live and work in the areas we serve, which means we're helping friends and neighbors too. On top of that, Ridgetop Exteriors offers the most affordable payment options, including no interest and low interest financing. For your free estimate, visit ridgetopexteriors.com. Roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Visit ridgetopexteriors.com.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention veterans, active duty military, civilians, and contractors.
If you were issued earplugs between 1999 and 2015 and were diagnosed with hearing loss or ringing in the ears, you may be entitled to compensation. The manufacturer of these military earplugs recently paid $9.1 million to resolve claims that their earplugs were defective, potentially exposing service members to damaging sound levels that could have resulted in hearing loss or tinnitus. If you or a loved one were issued earplugs and were diagnosed with tinnitus or hearing loss, don't wait. You fought for this country, and our attorneys want to fight for you. Call 800-725-0565 now for a free legal consultation and to see if you may be eligible to file a claim. Time restrictions may apply, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. So call 800-725-0565 now. Again, 800-725-0565. That's 800-725-0565.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
So you mentioned Super Bowls and parties and how they don't go hand in hand, which again is an absurd comment by you two, but it's just one of many on the show.
Dumber thing that Chewy has said this morning. Super Bowls and parties don't go hand in hand, or cheddar is not a top 10 cheese.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Stick around here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. We've got Sophia Minert coming up in about 10 minutes. She is going to tell us what is happening with the Brew Crew. Did they end up getting the win last night? I was at the concert. I checked in, and then they were winning when I checked in, and then I forgot to check.
Yeah. They won 3-2.
That's what the score was when I checked. I think it was in the 6th inning when I checked. So that's good because holy moly, the game before was total train wreck, dumpster fire. Sophia Minert will give us the lowdown on that. So I mentioned I went to the Lizzo concert last night at Fiserv Forum. First of all, absolutely packed. Jam-packed. Tuesday night in Milwaukee. I know we're just the 65th city on the list.
We're number 65.
She played in Green Bay yesterday.
The day before.
Yeah.
He was like, we're headlining Green Bay. We're going to do a little small intimate thing in Milwaukee. Yeah. It was amazing. It was a fantastic show. The energy in there, it was so positive and uplifting. She had hit after hit after hit. Very diverse crowd. Like, I loved everything about it, guys. It was so great. And it got me thinking, like, as I continue to check off acts on my bucket list. Not that Lizzo was on my bucket list of must-see acts, but I like when big acts come to town, getting the opportunity to see them and check them off the list. What's still on your list, right? Like Queensryche, that's on my list now. Chewy spoke so highly of it. They're
It's a
coming.
good comedy
they're
show.
coming to Summerfest, Chew. So I might have to just,
But you felt age appropriate at Lizzo?
Yeah.
That's my fears creeping. I always gave Craig a hard time for being a creeper.
Yeah.
Like being in a place you really shouldn't be.
I thought you were banned from going to concerts.
I'm sure I could go by myself.
You're not going to, first of all,
No,
we know you're not going to go by yourself.
I might be
Second
back
of
in
all,
good graces, though, after
Really?
the Queens, right? Because I actually wanted to stay later.
But did she?
No, she wanted to go.
After leaving the Chris Stapleton concert after 2 songs.
I had to work. And
You're
it wasn't
welcome.
2, it was 4. Okay. But it was fine. There were people there your age and Dario's age and all over the board.
All over the board. All over the board.
I mean, she's great.
Young kids. I mean, I saw parents with their, like, I would argue elementary school age kids, and then they were carrying them out, right, at the end of the night because they had fallen asleep, which was sweet. I saw some really older people, older than we were. It really ran the gamut. And I you know how you can feel a vibe when you're in a space, right?
Yeah.
And everything's kind of reverberating. And, like, it was so positive and uplifting. And so many of her songs are, poppy and, like, easy to sing along to. But I'm trying to think of, like, what I haven't seen that I still want to see. Like you mentioned Paul McCartney earlier.
Yeah.
I've never seen Paul McCartney.
Paul's
I would love
fantastic.
to see Paul McCartney in concert.
Yeah, I mean, he played Summerfest, what was it, 2017? I think he played AmFam Field shortly after that. I don't know if he's getting up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Like, why are we cooler than our parents? Because my parents could never listen to the music I listened to when I was 17, 18, 19.
Like,
now, like Lizzo, like I could listen to Lizzo. Lizzo's great.
Are
we just cooler than our parents?
I never thought Chewy was going to say he was a big Lizzo guy.
Well,
I'm not a big Lizzo
we
guy,
don't
but I
upset.
know some of her songs, and they're very, very
Name
good.
one.
Didn't you used to? I hope Craig is listening. And I hope when he joins us on Friday, he feels vindicated. Because for years, you have given that man a hard time for listening to today's pop. And here you are.
I wouldn't go to the
exactly
concert,
that.
though, Gabe. That's the thing. I wouldn't go to the concert, A, because I'm tall.
Thank you. That's a real fear.
What do you mean that's a real?
That?
What do you mean that's a
Explain
real
it,
fear?
Ashy.
Being tall and going to a concert?
Sometimes some of us are a little self-conscious, not about our height, but about how our height affects other people. So let's say I go to a concert. In most concerts, you're standing a lot of the time. I feel bad for the people behind me. They paid money too, and do I have every right to stand up? Sure, but I feel bad for the people behind me.
Well, you have to be a little more reserved, right, Ashy?
You
can't
just
break
go
it down
willy-nilly.
like you want to.
Exactly.
You know?
So right.
Yeah.
Then you're going to get critiqued.
Because you want to break it down in public.
Like when I was-
that's what you're yearning to do over there.
Well, Gabe, like when I went to Elton John in Pittsburgh, of course I wanted to get up and move around, and nope, couldn't. Had to just sit there and watch.
Elton John is another great show. I've seen Elton John
I've
twice.
seen him.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I'd like to see Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's another one that's on my bucket list or on my list of acts that I would like to see. You guys got any of those? Any where you're like, if that act comes to town, like Rolling Stones. I've never seen the Rolling Stones, and I hear they put on a hell of a stadium tour, but I feel like they're getting up there as well, and I don't know. I don't know.
Honestly,
Do
I
I
don't
really
want to
see Mick Jagger break a hip right in front of me? No,
it'd be
I
great
do not.
content for us. The Strokes, that's my favorite band of all time. I still want to see them. I'm going to see the Foo Fighters this summer. I'm pretty
You
excited
literally
about.
just started seeing concerts last year. I
can
imagine
still have
that
a bucket list.
I imagine your list is pretty substantial.
Well, I mean, not really. It's Foo Fighters. That'll be fun. I'm going to see them, but the drummer died, so it doesn't really matter. And the Strokes and Elton John and Beatles and Red Hot Chili Peppers and
mine
Queen.
are all broken up. Like Motley Crue back in the day would be great. Van Halen would be awesome.
Obviously, you would have
I'm not
Journey on your list, but he doesn't really sing anymore.
I'm
I
actually
think they made
going
up,
to
but-
2 Summerfest concerts, I believe.
Really?
Maybe ELO or BLO or CLO.
BLT.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good right now. A BLT sounds real good right now.
Wait. Can we try to figure out what the
Yeah,
hell
I'm
you're
trying to-
talking
I'm trying to
about?
look it up here.
Not LMFAO.
No.
No.
I believe ELO is an act.
What about the
think
one
it's
that
CLO.
sings Bang Bang Bang? Here we go. What's that group?
AJR.
AJR.
I think is going to be there. It's not AJR.
them. No. There's an O in there.
Are you sure?
I think.
REO Speedwagon.
No. There's no words.
REO. Oh,
BTK? No.
Oh my
Nah,
God,
it's-
BTK.
That's a serial killer, buddy.
yes.
No,
That's something else.
be him. There's a B.
Okay. I mean,
You figured it out?
No, I haven't. Unless he's going to see TBA, which is
No.
the headliner on.
To be announced as a band.
He thinks it's a band, but it really is TBA. They haven't picked the headliner yet.
He's going on July
what night
6th.
on July 6th, I'm free. I'm going to go see TBA. You idiot.
Very good.
Augie from Kewaskum weighing in saying, my bucket list concerts would be Elton John, Garth Brooks, and Paul McCartney.
I've seen Garth Brooks.
I have seen Garth Brooks. He puts on a fantastic show. I told you guys when I talk about my Mount Rushmore of concerts, seeing Garth Brooks in Las Vegas on a stage, just him and a stool and a guitar, is one of the best shows, hands down, I have ever seen in my entire life. And I have seen a Garth Brooks stadium tour as well, a stadium tour concert as well. But that was so different and unique. It will always be one of my best memories from a concert. 800-990-3776, your bucket list concerts. Again, not that Lizzo was on my bucket list, but again, when you have a chance, and she's so talented, by the way. She is so flippin' talented. She pulled her flute out 4 or 5 times, just started fluting in the middle of the show. Incredible. Like the flute is a very difficult instrument to play. And she's doing long notes where you're just like blowing for a really
I'm
long
gonna
time.
Just walk away from the table.
Just blowing on the flute,
Who's
and just
got a
playing
reed?
it.
Chewy, what the hell band are you talking about?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's nobody. There's no way you're going to see
Bachman Turner
QRTR.
Overdrive. That's one. BTO. It's not them though. Electric Light Orchestra.
Ah, yes, yes. Matt and Franklin weighing in saying Electric Light Orchestra.
I think that's
Yeah,
what I'm going
ELO,
to see.
but ELO's not at Summerfest.
Well, then I guess I'm not going to see them.
You have Eric Church, Zach Brown
No,
Band,
it's 3 letters.
James Taylor and his All-Star
He's
Band,
going to see AJR.
I think I'm going to see that though.
Dave Matthews
Sheryl Crow
Band,
and James Taylor.
That'll be so
Tyler
good.
said hi.
DMB.
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay.
What do you know about this event?
Not a lot.
Okay. So
Can't
you're not
tell
even
us a
sure.
date.
He doesn't know when.
Can't tell us a name.
He's not for sure
who are
it's
you
at
going with?
Summerfest.
That could have been a dream. You know who I'm going with is
my mom wanted to text in and offer her suggestions for what Chewy might be talking about. I thought it'd be great for the group to hear this. Eli, elect light organizer.
No. I think that's the ELO one, right?
Yeah. That's what she wanted to chime in with.
Brett and Eau Claire weighing in saying that his bucket lists are Hailstorm and One Republic. Hailstorm. I don't think I know Hailstorm.
Not familiar with Hailstorm. One Republic, but they played Summerfest in like 15.
Yeah.
I want to say 2014, 15 they were at Summerfest.
So Paul McCartney, I would still like to see. Red Hot Chili Peppers, I would still like to see. I saw Foo Fighters. They were on the list as well.
U2?
I saw U2 years ago at Soldier Field. Great show.
Are you going to Zach Brown again?
I don't know. Remember, I'm gone for that huge stretch. I'm gone for 2 straight weeks in June. And then I come back. But Green Day is playing at the Harley Fest. I may go see Green Day.
Ooh, they'd be good.
That'll be a good show. I love that Milwaukee has Summerfest. I love that we have all of these acts come through. I love that if I didn't see them the first time around, you can oftentimes catch these bands on the side stages.
It's just a shame we don't have the emerging art scene that Green Bay does.
Yeah.
Just imagine all those things you could check off your list if you lived in Green Bay.
Is Summerfest new Summerfest or old Summerfest? Is it Thursday, Friday, Saturday shut down? Thursday, Friday, Saturday shut down?
Is that like New Coke?
Yeah.
It's new Summerfest.
It's new Summerfest.
3-day weekends.
They're sticking
instead of
with
2
that
weeks.
going forward.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, obviously they do too. I think it's.
I do not, because I used to love going on a random Wednesday when we had off and other people had to work and really enjoying the emptiness. But apparently the emptiness was not good for business.
It turns out it's hard to make
business.
money when it's empty like that. With the local Milwaukee team, Fifth Third Bank knows what success looks like. They've been serving businesses and individuals in the area for nearly 15 years, including a long-standing commitment to the healthcare industry. From expansion to technology to reducing the risk of fraud, Fifth Third offers a full suite of financial services and solutions across the healthcare spectrum to meet the complex moments you're navigating. Fifth Third Bank National Association, custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
Westbound 94, we do have an accident at 25th Street, right at the ramp there. It's a flatbed semi off on the right shoulder, so just watch out for that. Otherwise, eastbound slowing down from about 68th Street through the stadium. Northbound 41, slowing from Wisconsin Avenue up past Swan Boulevard. Southbound side's got a pocket of heavy traffic right around Capitol Drive, down to Burleigh, and then again right around the North Avenue curve. Northbound 43, we're seeing delays out of the North Avenue curve there up to about Keefe, and then southbound is a little bit heavy right through Silver Spring. Traffic is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, sunny and cooler, a high of 55 at the lakefront, 64 inland tonight. Mostly clear with the low of 43 at the lake. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
From big tailgate parties to cozy dinners for two, the freshest ideas start with a stop at Century Foods.
Now through Wednesday, save on 24-pack 0.5-liter bottles, essential everyday purified drinking water, 2 for $6, limit 4. 12-pack 8-ounce bottles or 6-pack 16.9-ounce bottles, Splash Blast flavored water, 2 for $6. 18 to 80 count box, hefty trash or tall kitchen bag, $7.99. 46 to 48-ounce carton, Blue Bunny ice cream or frozen yogurt, $3.99.
Hey, why'd you throw my glass across the room?
I have to keep practicing.
The vase from Aunt Sophie?
I'm warming up in case I get to take them out at American Family Field. Read this.
Win the ultimate baseball fan experience at Century Foods?
You either get to throw out the first pitch, hold the finish line for the famous racing sausages, or be on the field during batting practice. My new TV!
Just doing a little batting practice of my own.
The ultimate baseball fan experience from Century Foods. Return the entry form found in the weekly ad to any Century by July 26th.
RJ Schenner has several Toshiba copier printers from James Imaging Systems. IT manager Gabe Colasari.
The reason why for James Imaging is their responsiveness, dedication, knowledge of the product, and they always make sure that the customer is taken care of.
The kind of customer service you'd expect from a 100% Wisconsin-owned and managed office technology company like James Imaging Systems.
We actually have a high-end printing machine on site, so we produce our own catalogs, so we need the support to handle that.
James Imaging Systems. Better document imaging technology, better service.
When we got a problem, we're able to call in and get it rectified or corrected without any issues.
Gabe, any advice to other local businesses?
Contact James. They'll take care of you.
James Imaging Systems. Reliable document imaging technology, extraordinary local service. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local office technology partner.
Find great deals for outdoor work and play during Countdown to Summer at Fleet Farm. Going on now. Get a free $20 Fleet Farm gift card when you buy any St. Croix fishing rod. Or get a 3-pack of Berkeley Flicker Shad Minnows, just $9.99. Plus, find deals on our wide assortment of fishing gear from top brands. Countdown to Summer with savings for outdoor work and play. Going on now at Fleet Farm. From the latest happenings on the diamond
This team will come up with a lot of different things. So for now, we've got a cheesehead, and it works.
to all the insight and expertise on things outside the ballpark.
Out on deep dish pizza. Sorry.
No, do not apologize for that take.
Yeah,
It's the
you don't
correct
have to
take.
apologize
Yeah.
for being out on deep dish pizza.
We only turn to one person. Batter up. It's Sophia Minert on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Brought to you by Ewald Automotive. Shop the Ewald Automotive Group's exclusive best used car selection of over 600 of your favorite cars, trucks, and SUVs. Visit any of their 8 locations or shop online at ewaldauto.com. And by Century Foods. Win the ultimate baseball fan experience from Century Foods. You could throw out the first pitch, hold the finish line for the famous racing sausages, or be on the field for batting practice. Enter at your local Century Foods.
We love chopping it up with Sophia Minert here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Sophia, how you doing today?
Good. How are you guys?
We are good. We are a little bit slighted. We feel a little bit lousy because, Green Bay is the number 1 city in America, according to U.S. News and World Report. And we just wonder what you thought about that. Are you a big fan of the old Bay?
I disagree with that.
That was very diplomatic. I appreciate the diplomacy. Yeah, surprising, right? Like we're not trying to like sit here and grenade Green Bay, but like it does feel like. What does it feel like, guys?
It feels like U.S. News is lying to us. Sophia, in the opening paragraph in What's It Like to Live in Green Bay, they say this city boasts a thriving entertainment and arts scene. Green Bay has a thriving entertainment and art scene?
I want to make the crickets sound, but I don't know how to make the crickets sound.
Yeah, I was just
There
going
it
to
is.
say, what are the parameters for the rankings? Because, I wouldn't put, the thriving arts and entertainment scene at the top of the list of, why you go to Green Bay.
Well, it turns out the number 1 criteria was must have an NFL stadium and a sledding hill right next door, and it was like, pretty much the only option here.
If you like riding bikes in the summer around said NFL stadium, then this is the place.
Yeah, it wasn't Bicycle America making this list, was it? Because I could see them having a soft spot in their heart for Green Bay, Wisconsin. No, yeah, we were surprised about it. And again, we're not trying to take shots at Green Bay, but it does feel like there are better places to live.
Because we
than
never took
Green
shots.
Bay.
We never took shots at Madison because I think they've been 1 or top 5, and that doesn't feel too bad. Green Bay just feels very obscure.
Well, and Sophia,
I will say, I'm biased. I'm from Madison. My parents still live there. My brother still lives there. I loved growing up there. I could definitely make a case for it, but even I would say there are certainly better places to live across the country than Madison. Within the state, I think you can definitely make a case for it. But yeah.
But of all the places you've visited, where's a place like a major league city, since you're traveling all over and you'll even get to hit more this year with the Brewers playing every team in baseball? What's a city that you're I could see myself living here?
Oh, that's a good one. We do talk about that all the time of we're only here for, 3-4 days at a time. Gosh, a place that I could see myself living. Well, I could definitely live in San Diego. That would not be a big reach for me.
Which was like 85 on the list.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
crazy.
So one city, I wish we could have gone back to Seattle in the summer, because I just feel like we got a very different feel for Seattle when we were there earlier this year. But I've heard that that is a beautiful place to live. We just didn't have great weather while we were there, but maybe that's true for what it's like to live in Seattle. I don't know. I mean, I always like Chicago, but that's kind of a basic one. I don't think I could live in New York long term. Absolutely love going there, but just don't see myself living there long term.
No, we did say that this list does seem to be out on big cities, right? If some of the criteria was crime and air quality and things like that, those are things that just exist in big cities. And so it did seem like those were almost automatically disqualified. And I imagine, Sophia, when you're traveling, you are going to a lot of big cities because that's where the baseball teams are located. Like I was telling these guys,
exactly.
I've been to Atlanta a number of times, right? Passing through and staying there. And my friends who live in the area, they choose not to live in Atlanta, right? They live in other suburbs of Atlanta, or even pushing out as far as 40 minutes outside of Atlanta. And so those cities would obviously get that deferential treatment as opposed to Atlanta. Do you know what I mean? You're going to the big cities.
Totally. Yeah, and usually we're in the heart of those big cities because you're staying at places that are convenient and also somewhat close to the ballparks. So yeah, I agree with that. And honestly, so many of these cities have changed since COVID. It's noticeable in a lot of these cities that we visit, just how much downtowns and these big cities, just how much the vibe has changed, how much the foot traffic has changed, businesses, all of that. It's very noticeable.
So, Sophia, what happened to Wade Miley? I was watching the game early on last night, and he's about to throw a pitch, and all of a sudden the bullpen comes out of nowhere. Or not the bullpen, but the dugout comes out of nowhere and calls timeout. And I'm like, what the heck just happened?
I know. It is amazing to me, honestly. It is like eagle eyes, especially on these pitchers, but on all the players, of just how well, Craig, the pitching coach, Chris Hook, the training staff, how well they know these players, their mechanics, their bodies. So it was the second inning is what you're talking about. And Wade Miley had given up a home run to Nolan Arenado. Then it was followed by a walk, and then it was the next batter. Essentially what happened is the pitch after he threw to Nolan Arenado on the home run, he just felt something grab. He thought it was underneath his armpit, and he just kind of continued to try to pitch through it until finally they just saw something that just wasn't right. I think William Contreras, who was catching, saw the same thing. So they went out to get him, and unfortunately for him, it's a left lat strain. So they're going to send him back to Milwaukee to get an MRI and more testing and see the doctors. He might rejoin us on this trip, but he's going to go on the IL, and that MRI will tell us how long he'll be out. But lat strains can be really tricky. So, again, we don't have a timeline yet, but typically those are a longer rehab. So it's just really, really a tough break for Wade Miley because he was pitching so well, and he was only able to get 5 outs last night. So, yeah, as you said, the bullpen just did an absolutely incredible job last night.
So does that put more pressure on Corbin Burns today to have to go longer since they had to use so much of the bullpen yesterday?
Yeah, that's why, it's we don't usually say must-win games in May here, but just considering you're not playing these division teams as much now, and the Brewers aren't going to see the Cardinals until September now, which is just crazy to me with the schedule. They're going to play the Cardinals 7 times over the last 2 weeks in September, but that's
pennant games for sure. I mean, unless you think that Pittsburgh is going to keep a hold of this pace.
Exactly. So it's when you lose a starter and then you have to ask your bullpen to do that much, that game almost becomes a must-win because to use your bullpen that way, it comes at a price, right? They all did an incredible job we'll see who's available today. But yes, I mean, they're definitely going to ask for length from Corbin Burns tonight. Quality start, as deep as he can go. It does help, however, that they've got an off day tomorrow, so that will help everybody regroup. But this is kind of the nature of the balanced schedule now, is you're playing these division teams less. You don't control when you play them. But the Brewers learned the lesson last year. These tiebreakers, they matter. So these games, they matter a lot, and you're trying to win these division series.
Yeah, Adam McCalvey referencing that in his article about the game as well, Sophia, talking about the regular season series with the Phillies, which loomed large when the two teams were fighting for the NL wild card. It had already been established. They had no more tiebreaker games, and of course it all played out the way it played out. So last thing we have for you, Sophia, before we let you go, I went to the Lizzo concert last night at Fiserv Forum. I imagine that if you weren't covering this awesome baseball game, which turned out to be an awesome baseball game as the bullpen came in and held on for the win, you would have come with me. Instead, I took my husband, which was, fine. It's fine. Would have preferred to go with a girlfriend.
I would have had more
Here's
fun.
the thing. He was like, how many girlfriends did you ask before you settled on me? And I was like, don't worry about it. He's like, all of them? I was like, pretty much. Pretty much all
Went
of
through
them.
the entire phone.
Every single girlfriend. A lot of my girlfriends were there, and they were with other groups. So, but is there a concert for you that you are still like circling when they come to town, or you'd be willing to travel to go see, like a bucket list concert that before you die, you want to see this act in person live?
Well, first of all, how was Lizzo?
So good. Unbelievably
I bet,
good.
yeah. I mean, I saw your Instagram, and I was like, oh, man, that looks so fun. And it's funny, we were talking about that with Wildy and Tausch yesterday, and they brought up the Lizzo concert. And then I guess Shania Twain was also in Madison last night. So, we're really thriving in arts and entertainment.
But not Green Bay.
Green Bay didn't have a concert last night? Weird. So weird. Very strange.
I know,
For a
so
thriving
weird.
arts and entertainment scene, you'd think they'd had something.
So weird.
We're so mean.
So weird. I'm going to throw out two very unrelated artists. I would love to see the Adele show, just because I keep hearing such incredible things about her Vegas residency. Someday, somehow, I would love to go see the Adele show. And this one's actually coming up in Milwaukee. I think it's next weekend. Janet Jackson is coming, and I just think I want to go see Janet Jackson. I just think she's got so many hits. She's so iconic. I think it'd be a fun show. So yeah, I'm going to try to make it to that one, but we're going to see.
I've seen Janet Jackson. She is fantastic. She still dances up there with her dancers, and it is hit after hit after hit. You will be standing the entire show.
That's what I want. That's what I'm hoping it is. And I understand that if she's older, she may not sound the same, etc. But I'm here for the hits. I'm here for just the library. So.
I'm here for the hits. That applies to concerts and baseball, which is something Sophia knows a little bit about. Sophia, have a great game today. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Shania Twain. I'm going to go see Shania Twain. I think she's coming to Fiserv as well this fall.
I think that's part of it. Yeah.
Is she country?
Yeah.
Country pop country.
Okay.
She was like the first pop country.
Yes.
Right before Taylor went pop country.
Okay.
He's just taking my word for it.
Is it country pop or pop country?
I don't know.
What's more?
I think of Shania as more country than pop.
That's what I thought.
Where Taylor Swift started as country. She's made the full evolution to pop.
Let's go, girls.
I'll take TBA any day of the week. Very excited to go see them.
Chewy can't wait. July 6th, live at Summerfest.
TBA!
What's not TBA is what you should be having for dinner tonight, and that is Screamin' Sicilian I'm Stuffed Crust Pizza. You know Screamin' Sicilian and the premium craft pizza that is so good, but now they've found a way to take it to the next level with that artisan crust that is stuffed with 2.5 feet of cheese in the crust. That's right, that's Screamin' Sicilian I'm Stuffed Crust Pizza with all the flavors you are used to with Screamin' Sicilian, supreme, sausage and pepperoni, just the pepperoni, and cheese as well. Every single slice leaves you saying, I'm stuffed. Look for Screamin' Sicilian I'm Stuffed Crust Pizza in the freezer section of your local grocery store. It's Palermo's, Wisconsin's hometown pizza.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
They put themselves in harm's way for us. They sacrifice time with their loved ones for us. They are our heroes. That's why we at Ewald Automotive proudly salute those who serve and are brave first responders. Thank you for all you do. We're offering service members and their families the benefits of our Military Advantage program with special pricing and incentives on every vehicle. Plus, all month long, we'll donate to local military and first responder charities for every car sold. Go to ewaldauto.com.
Hi, it's John Reeds from Great Midwest Bank, and I've said it before. Life happens. For nearly 90 years, Great Midwest Bank has made the home loan process predictable through all those ups and downs. And today, GMB's simple and personalized approach to locally serviced, affordable home equity loans can turn your home's value into cash for whatever you want. Whatever your lending need, it's just a few clicks away. Apply online at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text HUNK to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text HUNK to 321321. That's HUNK to 321321.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, get a Flex 24-volt half-inch drill driver kit for only $99. Was $179. That's a savings of $80. Plus, you'll always save big on job lot quantities when buying select building supplies in bulk. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid from 3/20 to 7/20 while supplies last. U.S. only. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities. Discount taken at time of purchase.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. And with the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Now through June, purchase online with Beacon Pro Plus, web or app, and earn up to $1,500. Beacon, always building.
You're listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
He hates the ending of all comedies. Apparently doesn't like happy endings.
I love happy endings. Don't take it that far.
Muy bueno. Maybe that's a vote for Groundhog Day for you.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Here we go.
So put your best face on, everybody pretend you know this song, everybody.
I like how environmentally friendly the NBA is. Oh, just recycling all these coaches.
Like, where the hell is she going with this?
Did you see that when Doc Rivers got fired yesterday?
Same old Rieger.
Thank you.
Yes.
The list of people that the Sixers are considering was basically everybody that's been fired. It was Budenholzer. It was Nick Nurse. I mean, I saw Sam Cassell's name on the list. And isn't that just Doc Light?
Was Joe Dingleberry on the list? They can have him.
You're really going to change it from Joe Barry Carroll to Joe Dingleberry?
Why?
I don't like Joe Barry Carroll is so this show.
It's going to be really hard for me not to. I called him Joe Carroll earlier. I eliminated the Barry.
Which is his real name.
His real name is Joe Barry. I called him Joe Carroll earlier in the show.
Yeah, I like
Nobody
that.
called me on it.
Well, because we all get it, you know.
I did just Google him. I went Joe Carroll. And then nothing showed up.
It's your fault.
Yeah, it is my fault.
All your fault.
Is it possible that the Bucks got rid of the best coaching candidate that is out there?
Oh, he's going to get a job.
Like that. So? Like this. Like that.
Would you want it, though? Why? What?
Why is he
getting
going to get
$16 million? Why not?
Oh, if you're
Bud.
Because
they just regurge. He's going
because
to be
he
back on
knows
the
if he
list
goes
next
out
year.
to the lake, you're just going to come on this radio show and
I
make fun
wanna
of his
hang.
driving.
It's so entertaining. Yeah, it's all about me. You're just figuring that out now.
That's not a little annoying. And again, I'm not exactly sure what the solution is, but I chuckled heartily when that list came out. And Mike Budenholzer was the first one on the list.
The solution is not firing coaches who win championships so close to after they've won championships. Again, of 3 out of the last 4 coaches who have won championships are currently jobless in the NBA. Nick Nurse,
Monty
Frank
Williams.
Vogel,
No, not Monty Williams. Sorry.
Frank Vogel and
Did
Mike
Doc get
Budenholzer.
fired from Boston after he won the championship? It must have been
I can't
him.
remember if he got fired or if he just left to take the Clippers job.
Okay, that's right. I forgot he went to the Clippers.
Yeah, because he was with the
I'd
Clippers
I'd
forever.
take Doc Rivers.
You would? A
I
lot of
would
people
not
would
take
not.
Doc here.
Yeah, they're out on him.
I'm out on Doc.
Big out.
Really?
Way out.
Dude, he had the lead in the fourth quarter of Game 6, didn't finish it off. And yes, it's not his fault that his team scored 10 points in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Just throw 5 random players out there for 12 minutes. They need to score more than 10 points in any quarter of an NBA game. But I don't think Doc's the solution to the Bucks' problems.
But will Bucks fans feel bad if Mike Budenholzer goes to the Sixers, somehow gets them to the promised land? Will they sit there and go, "We had the guy, but you needed a fall guy, so you fired the guy who just won the thing"?
Not worried about the Sixers getting to the promised land. They
At
got
all?
a lot of
Well,
issues over there.
Jen, did people feel bad about Ned Yost because he won with the Royals
Yeah,
a
good point.
handful of
Very
years
good point.
later, and that never gets brought up.
And nobody had Ned Yost being brought up on
No.
this program today. I
By
guarantee
Mark
it.
Chmura, especially.
By Mark James Chmura.
Bringing value. I won't be here tomorrow.
Neither will I. Great.
Sheesh, I haven't thought about Ned in years. But you're right. I mean, yeah, he went to the Royals and won the whole thing. Swain was there with him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dale followed him. He was still the bench coach.
I don't think anybody felt bad about it. In fact, I think there were people who were happy for Ned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
nice
was unfairly the scapegoat the year they fired him.
He was, exactly. Could you make the argument that Bud was unfairly the scapegoat because somebody had to go?
No.
It was on-
I think it was time. I think it was time. This had just kind of naturally run its course. And yeah, he may win another championship somewhere else. Bud's a great coach, but you need someone who's going to be able to make those little changes within the organization to make sure what happened in round 1 did not happen. Does
and
not
now,
happen.
of course, you see Miami is just out there like flexing its muscles, saying everything with their chest because ESPN gave them a 3% chance to win this series. And, they are loving that. Like, the last thing that Miami Heat team needs is another chip on its shoulder.
Boston has to be so mad.
So mad.
Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Go ahead, make us the favorites. Don't make us a 97% favorite.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler loves that stuff. Injected into his veins type of stuff. So, who are you picking in that series?
Boston.
You think Boston wins it?
Yeah. Yeah, Boston's going to come up with a good defensive game plan. We'll have Boston and
L.A.?
No.
I kind of like that's what I'm hoping for.
LA lost
Go back
yesterday.
old school.
You
Yeah,
saw
I mean,
that.
they fought
Yeah.
back, but I still think that Denver. I mean,
Yeah.
Jokic is
Too good.
Dude seems inevitable this year.
Yeah.
Oh, like Thanos.
Yeah.
Jokic is Thanos. We put several things on the poll today. I don't remember any of them. It was so long ago. But Green Bay was ranked by USA News as the best place to live in the United States. Is this insane? Guess what? 68% of people saying, hell yes, it's insane. It's absolutely nutty. Packers defense was ranked 17th last season. What are your expectations for their ranking this season? 40% of people are saying top 15. Gotta be in the top 15. Gabe is saying they gotta be in the top 10. Thanks for hanging with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Wildy and Tosh is next on ESPN Wisconsin.
Eastbound 94 really is going to be our only heavy spot. It's from 76th Street through the Stadium interchange. The westbound side does have an accident. It's at the beginning of the 25th Street off-ramp, a flatbed semi off on the right side. Folks maybe tapping on the brakes just